2025 marks the 100th anniversary since F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby was published. The book's narrator, Nick Carraway, moves from the Midwest to West Egg, a fictional neighborhood on Long Island, New York. I'm here in Great Neck, the real-life inspiration for West Egg. In the early 1920s, it was a booming area filled with self-made millionaires, many of them immigrants or first-generation Americans. After World War I, the U.S. economy exploded. There was mass production, new consumer goods, and stock market speculation, all of which quickly created huge wealth. Long Island's North Shore became a symbol of new money, the loud, the flashy, the modern. From 1922 to 1924, Fitzgerald and his wife Zelda rented this house in Great Neck, the village that served as the inspiration for West Egg. Areas like Sands Point, on the other hand, were represented in the book as East Egg. There, one could see more showy mansions belonging to the wealthy elite who were neighbors of the Fitzgeralds. Fitzgerald began writing Gatsby in Great Neck, but most of it was written after the family moved to France in 1924. In 1923, he wrote to his editor at Scribner's that he wanted his third novel to be different. In what would become Gatsby, he said, "I want to write something new, something extraordinary and beautiful, and simple and intricately patterned." This is the shore of Manhasset Bay, which represents the divide between old and new money. On one side, we see the ambitious new money residents of Great Neck, and on the other, the old money aristocracy of Sands Point. Sands Point was one of the wealthiest places in America during this period. Families like the Vanderbilts and Guggenheims owned massive estates, and these families represented generational wealth and the old American elite. Sands Point Preserve is home to some of the real Gold Coast mansions that inspired the world of Daisy and Tom Buchanan. These mansions attest to a time when the U.S. had a large wealth gap and the government minimally regulated corporations. In the late 1920s, the top 1% controlled almost half of the country's wealth, and Fitzgerald saw these people up close. Their carelessness and entitlement became the core of the characters of Tom and Daisy. Here in Port Washington, Fitzgerald took the train, drank in local bars, and watched the nightlife of the 1920s up close. During this era of prohibition, speakeasies and bootleggers thrived on Long Island due to its extensive shoreline, which allowed for easy smuggling of illegal alcohol from offshore ships. With American consumer culture exploding partly in the form of cars and fashion, the nation's modern identity reflected feelings of liberation and moral conflict. The green light at the end of Daisy's dock in part symbolizes the American dream during the Roaring '20s. But this belief that anyone could reinvent themselves and shape their own future was complicated, especially with the wealth inequality and consumerism. It may have seemed more important to some than more community-centric values. The Great Gatsby remains relevant, especially in schools where it's one of the best tools for both students and teachers because of its historical context, showing the U.S. at a turning point when it was booming with opportunity, but struggling to pinpoint what the American dream really meant.